It's Jonathan Aguilar here for Pro Boxing Fans. Delighted to be joined all the way from New York by Otto Wallin. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. Thank you for having me.
No problem. The last time we actually spoke was in the MGM Grand, very briefly during the crazy Wilder Fury 2 media week. And
Yeah.
now we'll go straight into it. You're linked with a rematch with Tyson Fury on December 5th. Yeah, just talk to me about, first of all, your reaction to what seems to be that the Fury Wilder 3 trilogy is falling through.
Yeah, I think it's a little strange. I was expecting that to go through, and it seems like it won't, and haven't heard anything really from Wilder, so I'm not sure what's going on. But, I mean, it might be a good idea anyways for Wilder to let Fury fight somebody else, and Wilder can get some other fights, and then maybe he can come back and fight Fury. So Wilder have more time to prepare for Fury and get better on some things. But he's getting older too, so I don't think time is on his side really. So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens.
Your promoter Dimitri Salita has put your name in the hat for this December 5th. How likely do you think that is to happen? Because Bob Arum's mentioned a host of names, including Oscar Rivas, Michael Hunter, F.A. Jagba. Where do you see yourself in the running for December 5th in London?
I don't know. I have no idea, but I would really like the rematch because, all those guys, I think they are good fights for Fury. And with good fights, I mean, there will be opponents that suit him very well. And I think Jagba, I think he's too green for Fury. And Oscar Rivas and Michael Hunter, I think both are smaller guys, right? At least Michael Hunter. So I think, somebody like me with good footwork and pretty good hand speed, and I think that's better and more trouble for Fury. And you can only look at our fight and you see that I caused him a lot of trouble. I landed a lot more punches than both Klitschko and Wilder together on him, and I had him cut 2 places, and it was really bad. And if I would have had those cuts, the fight would definitely have been stopped. But that's how boxing works sometimes, and he was a champion and everything, so they didn't stop it. But I think because of those reasons that they should give me a rematch. I think did better than all those guys, and I think I deserve a rematch.
You'd be ready for December 5th 100% to fight Fury?
Yeah, for sure. Before I fought Fury last time, I had only fought 1 round in 18 months, and now I'm coming off a win here against Kaufman in August. And I'm always in training, so I'm more than ready. And I was going to look to fight in December anyway, so I've been training all this time, and I'm ready for Fury.
I know you said sort of after the fight, you're obviously disappointed that you weren't able to, you came close with that massive cut. Is there regret from that first fight with Fury?
I don't know if I have any regrets, but I know that there's things I can do better. But on that night, I gave everything I had, and I did my best. And it was a good fight, but I didn't go all the way, but it was close. And, looking at those cuts, I feel like it should have been stopped, and I would have been the winner on TKO. But that's how boxing works sometimes.
I think a lot of people, you surprised a lot of people with your performance, that some people were overlooking you, and you really grew your profile on that night in Las Vegas. I'm sure you look back, with a lot of fond memories from that, despite the defeat.
Yeah, it was. That fight was more like a win than anything. And I just wish that they would have stopped the fight and I would be the winner. That would be even better time out there. But it was, a lot of good memories, and I was just happy to finally get a big fight like that. And I proved that I belong, and now I just got to keep proving that.
What has to happen, do you think, for you to face Fury on December 5th? Are you going to have any contact with Bob Arum and Top Rank and Frank Warren?
I don't know. I think I'm trying to do my thing and let them know that I'm ready. And my promoter's also working on it, of course. And I think the thing is with those guys, Fury, he's a fighting guy, but he's calling everybody out. And I saw one interview, he called maybe 10 or 15 people out, but I wasn't one of them. And I'm starting to think like, hey, what's going on? I gave him his toughest fight ever, had him badly cut and everything, but he never mentions my name. And he hasn't mentioned my name since we fought. So I think that's a little suspicious. And, he knows that I'm a good fighter, and I'm not someone to back off, and I have zero respect for him. So, I don't know what's going on.
If you do face Tyson Fury on December 5th, if you're selected, what do you have to do differently, do you think, to beat him?
I think that I've learned a lot from the first fight, and just the experience of going 12 rounds with the champion. That was a great experience for me, and I learned a lot. But I think one of the things is that I could have paced myself better. I did well the first 6 rounds, and then he took over from 7th to the 11th round, and then I came back in the 12th. But I could have paced myself better, and to make sure that I be competitive the whole fight.
Do you think you'd have to knock him out to beat him?
Maybe. That would end everything. That would be not to leave it in the judge's hands, because we saw what happened last time, and it was a huge cut and everything. So they didn't stop that. So possibly that I have to knock him out.
And you believe you would?
Yeah, I heard him in that fight too, and I heard him in the last round even. So I know I'm dangerous the whole fight, and he knows that too.
Just quickly, I want to just reflect on your win over Travis Kaufman. How did you find that back in Mohegan's Sun, behind closed doors? How did you find the whole experience?
It was a little weird. It felt more like a sparring session than anything, but I knew still there was a lot on stake, and I had to win, and I did that, and put in a solid 5 rounds, and then he injured his shoulder, he said. So that was it. But Kaufman, he's a solid guy, and he's been 10 rounds with Ortiz and different guys, so he's always been solid. But I think that was a good win for me.
All right, so if you don't face Fury in December, 2 questions: who do you think he'll face? And secondly, who do you think you're going to be next in the ring with?
I have no idea for Fury, but a guy like Michael Hunter, I think that's a great fight for him because he's so much smaller. And maybe Oscar Rivas. I know he's a puncher, but I think Fury has too good of a movement and defense for him. So we see what they come up with. I hope it will be me though that fights Fury. But if it's not Fury, we haven't discussed much of names yet. But I know Lucas Brown is one of them. So working towards a fight in December, and we see what's gonna happen. We're kind of waiting on Showtime right now to give us some guys and stuff like that.
So, I mean, if you look ahead to say next year, if I speak to you in a year's time, hopefully it'll be sooner. Where do you think you'll be if you don't get this title shot in December?
I think you said in a year. I think in a year that if I can come back, win another fight now in December, and then hopefully in the beginning of next year, step it up more and have a good fight there. And then hopefully, get maybe an eliminator or something and position myself for a world title by the end of the year.
And just lastly, who did you watch growing up? Which heavyweights did you admire and watch?
It was first and foremost, it was Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson, because my father was really big on Muhammad Ali. My brother liked Mike Tyson. And so, yeah, there was a lot of those guys. My brother had the VHS of Mike Tyson's knockouts and stuff, so used to watch that. And then when we got a computer, I could download documentaries and stuff. So I've seen a lot of stuff of Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson. I had a poster of, I think I had a couple posters of Muhammad Ali in my room.
Brilliant. Well, also, thanks very much for your time. I do appreciate it. Lastly, I do just want to go back to one thing on Deontay Wilder. You mentioned he's been quite quiet. What do you think will happen with Deontay now?
I don't know. But if I can't get Fury, I would like to fight Wilder. So hopefully we can make that one of those guys. That'd be good. But I don't know what he's up to. I haven't heard much from Wilder. See what happens. But I'm ready, and I'm with Showtime, so that would be easy to make. Me and Wilder.
What, early next year or
December? Yeah.
Okay, well, also thanks very much for your time. I do hope to catch up again soon, and let's see what happens with this December fight.
Yeah, see what happens. Thank you very much for having me.